So we all love a good underdog story, a David and Goliath, the one that wasn't supposed to win but that you wanted to win all along comes out on top. And today I'm going to be showing you a pedal that I don't think enough people talk about, and it's been on the market for 4, 5, 6 years, and I still don't think there's anything else at its price point and in its size that competes with it. And that pedal is the Golf V2 by Swindler Effects. This thing has stereo outs, it's got MIDI in and through, you have a preset savable on the pedal itself, as well as the option for 49 more presets via MIDI. It does chorus, it does vibrato, it does all kinds of awesome things. So without further ado, let's check out the Golf V2 by Swindler Effects. Alright, so there's a few things about this pedal that we need to talk about. The first thing is that it can do MIDI in and through, which is absolutely insane. I'm not really going to dive into that, but if you want to check that out, you can look at swindlereffects.com, look at the full MIDI manual as well as the Golf's manual. But I'm just going to go over the knobs. It's pretty simple. You have speed, depth, and blend. Like a typical chorus pedal, it can go from fully dry all the way to fully wet or vibrato. You also have a division knob for the tap switch down at the bottom, which is really cool. You can do a bunch of cool subdivisions if you're into that. You also have a switch here for the type of wave. So you have a sine wave, triangle wave, and a square wave, which isn't super common but can yield some really cool kind of lo-fi glitchy sounds. You have a delay knob that will separate the dry signal from the wet signal. You can hold both of these foot switches and save one onboard preset, which is really cool, and it lights up with a blue LED right here when that is active. You can hold down the bypass foot switch to switch into live mode, which would be how the knobs are set on the pedal, or you can hold it and that will enable the preset that you've saved. You have a tap switch, like we said, but it's also a ramping switch, so you can hold this down and it will either speed up or slow down the time. And what's really cool about this is you can adjust how fast or how slow it does that. So again, check out swindlereffects.com to check out the full manual. I'm not going to dive into all of that, but I am going to show you some of my favorite sounds and features. Again, stereo outs, super cool. MIDI in and out, standard 9-volt plug, has a small mini USB on the inside of the pedal that you can update the firmware with, which is a really awesome option. And it offers all of this in a standard size enclosure, which I think is super cool. This is a limited colorway that Drew did. I was able to get my hands on one. I love it. Perfect for summertime. Without further ado, let's check out the sounds that the Golf has to offer. Alright, so I'm going to be taking you through just a few of my favorite sounds. We'll start with some subtle things, move into some heavier chorus tones, and we will end on some kind of funky pitch, vibrato, warped vinyl type sounds. So first things first, I'm playing my Gold Sir Classic S Antique, and I'm running that into my 1967 Deluxe Reverb, which I have mic'd up with a Bear Dynamic B69N and a Shure SM57. My volume is on 3, treble is on just under 5, and bass is on 4. I've got just a little bit of reverb on at about 3, and my clean tone sounds like this. So that's what it sounds like clean. If I dig in a little bit more. And again, just a little bit of spring reverb. Now I'm going to turn on the Golf. I've got it set to a kind of subtle chorus setting, and we'll hear what that sounds like. As you can see, the speed is pretty slow. I won't be using the preset in any of these clips, so wherever you see the knobs is how it would sound in the corresponding position. So let's turn it on. And here's what this sounds like. So you can still hear the movement going pretty nicely if I start by turning up the speed knob a little bit more. We're getting closer to some Leslie type sounds. Move it up even more. And then past this, it just gets a little weird. So set it back kind of low, which is where I typically use it. So moving from the sine wave over to the triangle. And now moving to square. You can already hear the square mode has some pretty cool glitchy textures. I'm going to go back to sine, and we're going to leave the speed where it's at. We're going to play with the depth control a little bit. And if we max out both of these knobs, some kind of subtle, slow-moving vibrato that sounds really cool and could definitely be used to make some instant kind of lo-fi sounds. So setting the depth and the blend control back to midway. Some more classic chorus tones, and now I'm going to play with the delay knob all the way down. About halfway. And all the way up. Getting some really deep throbbing chorus sounds from this one. Now, one of my favorite things to do is turn all the knobs down a little bit except for the delay knob. Use the triangle mode. And it almost doesn't sound like there's a chorus on if I were to turn it off. You get this kind of subtle thickening thing that happens that I really like. Getting about there, you start to notice it, but if I turn it down just a little bit, it's just the occasional glitch that would sound really cool with big chords. Alright, now let's get into some weird stuff. We're going to go full on vibrato here. So I'm going to leave this set to triangle for now, and then we'll switch over to the square mode again. I'm going to go slow speed, and the depth kind of subtle just to see where we're at. Again, still kind of subtle, so I think if we move this depth up a bit. Now the delay knob up, you'll really start to hear it. And if I were to take this really extreme setting, just dial back the blend, and start getting some pretty cool sounds. Now, this kind of subtle glitch becomes much more intensified when you switch it to the square mode. So I'm going to start back with all of these on noon, keeping my slow rate here. Again, it becomes much more pronounced when we switch over to the square mode there. So if I turn the delay knob down and max the other two out. But watch what happens when I turn the delay knob up. Again, I really like to use this one pretty subtly, so if I turn the blend down, because it is a square wave too, you'll start to notice this much more with a sort of beat synced thing. So if you do have a time tapped in, these more extreme settings, you can start to use it as kind of a weird modulation effect that's more time based. Alright, so I'm going to go back to one of my favorite, just kind of subtle chorus modes. We're going to go here to the triangle wave, slow it down a bit. And we're just going to throw some gain into it to hear what this sounds like if we were playing some of our favorite 80s rock type riffs. So guys, that is all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed making it and as much as I've enjoyed playing and looking at this pedal. While the Golf isn't something brand new to the market, it's in fact been around 4 or 5 years now, I think that the pink colorway is a super cool option, and I don't hear enough people talking about it. I mean, this much functionality and MIDI all in a pedal this size, I'm not sure there's anything else that comes close in its size and price point, but let me know in the comments below if there is something else that you think can compete with this pedal. If you've enjoyed this video and you've stuck around this far, please hit that like button and the subscribe button because it really helps me out and it lets me know you enjoy these videos. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos, and that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.